When I first started playing this game, I died to a great Jagress, and I quit. Yep. That's just the beginning of my love for the series. Monster Hunter World was an introduction to so many people, including myself, as it was one of the first games that was heavily advertised in the West. It was the first time people really got to see this in advertisements wherever they went. Seeing a character just go up against these different beasts and fighting them. I don't remember seeing these trailers or really noticing them at first, but I did eventually get involved in the franchise and later explored previous releases as you see on this channel. Hello everyone, my name is SkojSkull and welcome your faces to a brand new video. And today I would like to talk about Monster Hunter World and how I got into the franchise Monster Hunter as a whole. There's a lot of emotions when getting into the series and a whole lot of things happen getting into the games. Now leave a like and subscribe because I'm about to gush about my journey through Monster Hunter World and in my introduction to Monster Hunter as a whole. Also, let me know how you got introduced to the series. Was it through World or was it through another game? I would love to hear your stories of how you got introduced to the games, so let me know. Getting into this game was no easy feat, as growing up I never really played many PvE type games. I mostly played PvP games, including the big ones in my life, Overwatch and Call of Duty. And yo, let me tell you, your boy was awful. I wasn't the greatest at these games at all. I realized that going through these games I was getting more and more of a love for PvE. I was slowly growing. I was playing Call of Duty Zombies more and more and slowly stopped playing Overwatch. I was later introduced to the games by one of my good friends, Mother Coconuts, who showed me around the game and what it was. I was curious about it. It was completely different from all the games that I played in the past. After seeing him just explore the hub and just look at how gorgeous the graphics look with the beautiful scenery and the many weapons you could choose from, I was intrigued. I finally bit the bullet and purchased the game from the PlayStation Store and tried it out. Out of instinct, I grabbed the dual blades as it was calling to me because my weeby nature. I went into the hunt with the most ferocious beast in all of Monster Hunter, the Great Jagress. Me skipping every tutorial known to man to help assist me in battle, I went straight for the beast with my blood-boiling craving for the fight and started attacking. I was doing damage, fighting as hard as I can. The monster then struck at me as I was striking it, not dodging because I'm not scared. I could take this beast. It carded me. Then it carded me again, and once more. And finally I failed the quest, which took me over 40 minutes. This first monster, the first boss, the first encounter killed me and my motivation to continue the game. So I stopped playing and never looked back until it came down to PC. More of my friends grew an interest towards this game as well, and I started to enjoy it. I fought alongside my friends as we went through each hunt and destroyed each monster over and over. And yes, we did take down a terrifying beast, Great Jagress. I just continued going through the hunts with my friends, not understanding how the upgrading system worked or how to grind up for new gear. It was all new to me. And again, I skipped every tutorial there was, and it was a waste of time. I just wanted to play the game. Then we got to a point where my amazing skills weren't enough to pull through when we faced the next formidable foe, Diablos. This monster showed me who was boss, and I grew more and more terrified of this insane monster as it charged straight towards me, piercing me with his two horns. Not even support can save me in this, as I get one shot into the quest fail screen. After my friends grew to understand the game a lot quicker than I did, I progressed further as I then lost interest. Again. After my extended break with Monster Hunter, I finally decided to give it one last shot. I decided to be on my own with the help of my community and really take my time. Gather things that would need to gather and upgrade things that needed to be upgraded. It was a different feeling. I didn't feel rushed or anything. I just wanted to take my time with the game. This was probably the turning point for me. I was so into PvP type games that I never really took the time and grinded games like this with PvE games. I was finally getting the hang of this, and the community surrounding the game helped me out so much. They helped with any questions I had about certain materials, how to use different weapons, and some help with hunts as well to help me along. This was the first time I have ever experienced anything like this. I've never been involved in any game community before this, and Monster Hunter was probably the most welcoming out of all of them. The lobbies for Monster Hunter World definitely helped out with that. 16 players in one lobby was crazy to me. People chilling out in a lobby and hanging out until they are able to hunt, or helping out with their investigations if they have one that was good. I've never felt this connected with a community before, and it was all because of Monster Hunter. I definitely can appreciate the 4-player lobbies, but the 16-player ones definitely spoiled me for sure. After finally taking my time and reading through things, I finally grasped the feel of Monster Hunter and how it's played. I started understanding the PvP genre a lot more as well, and got more into them as time went on. I feel like Monster Hunter World was a perfect game for me to start with when it came to the Monster Hunter games as a whole. I feel like where I was at, I might have dropped the other games out without really looking into it with their lack of tutorials and straightforwardness. Monster Hunter World has done skills in a different way that was easier to understand, showing how much it affects your status with each skill point added. The previous majority of the releases had a skill activation line, and however many of that specific skill you add gets activated if it gets over the line. If it doesn't go over the line, then it won't be activated. To be honest, I do prefer the newer system since it's easier to understand. You know how much you are putting to each skill compared to the previous system, but they are both fine either way. The tutorials are easy to understand as well, after I finally read them, and did a great job at introducing new players to the franchise. The story of Monster Hunter was definitely on the weaker side for sure compared to their other releases of Monster Hunter games. It didn't really intrigue me as much, but the end game for Monster Hunter was what got me. Looking back, compared to now, there wasn't really much of an end game for Monster Hunter either. It was entirely to get as many attack decorations as you can. Oh man. Those drops were brutal. They barely dropped, but when they did, it was hyped as hell. The randomness of the investigations definitely helped to where it would keep things fresh. Every quest was different. Some had random time limits, number of times you can faint, how many monsters you fight, or how many rewards you receive. I really enjoyed that system, and it makes me happy to have something similar to that now in Sunbreak. With World, we've gotten different events and quests that cycled throughout the game, which was really nice to see. With Halloween, Christmas, you name it. Changed the way the hub looked while also giving us different layered armors for fashion. It gave us a new look to the game in a way, making it exciting for each season and giving us wild event quests. Then we also got Kulve Taroth, who came in here and there. The siege can be a tad boring in the beginning when the most effective way to go about it was to gather things for the first portion, but when you finally got the chance to hunt this gorgeous looking beast, it's well worth it. Aside from spending literal months trying to get the insect clay for almost a year that I thought never existed at that point, with this quest going on rotation and the game going through different seasons, giving it a new look when you go in, it was always nice to go back. Then we have some of the crossover hunts, which were possibly one of the biggest challenges to face in the game. We got Behemoth, which was a crossover for Final Fantasy, and Leshen from The Witcher. They were both crazy powerful hunts. You needed a strategy for when you go in. Some of the most fun I had was being able to accomplish these hunts. It was insane with these hunts having different stages as you go on. Then if you don't meet the threshold, then you get punished for it. So you really need to give it your all in these hunts. Then as we inch closer to the end of Monster Hunter World, we started getting arc-tempered hunts for all the elders, saving Nergigante for last. These AT hunts really tested everyone, with the elders just being crazy powerful, maybe a little too powerful. With all the different quests, you get different layered armors as a reward, as well as stronger armor for your hunter. There was one monster from the Arc Tempers that meant a lot to me, the crazy skydiving monster himself, Arc Tempered Nergigante. The reason being is that this is actually the first monster that I soloed back in base world. I was actually in the notion that if it's a game with multiplayer, then why would I waste my time trying to solo when there are others that I can play with? Then I thought about this would be the fight I would try in solo, and oh boy did it take me a while. This monster was a challenge in itself, using my trusted insect glaive, only mounting at right moments and swapping between weapons just to get the most out of the damage I'm putting out. Your boy was try-harding this. This is the most difficult hunt I have done at the time, and once I accomplished my goal, it was one of the best feelings I've ever had. I was always worried that I was never pulling my weight in hunts I do with others, but this really helped me realize that I was putting in the work. Monster Hunter World I felt was a perfect introduction for me. It did take me many times to get into the game itself, but after many tries I finally got into it, and boy was it worth it. And then as time went on, the endless hunts trying to get more attack decos, Iceborne was just around the corner. With each trailer for this game I grew more and more hyped. There was so much that was going to get added to the base game, it was wild. It was literally going to be an entire new game for a third of the price. I was going to start my new journey fighting monsters that I had never really fought before. I remember seeing the trailers as they were being released and seeing everyone getting excited about each one. Not really knowing who the monsters are since this is my first game, I was really looking forward to the hunts and experiences I will have playing with everyone. But we will have to save that for another video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you all enjoyed, let me know. And if this is your first Monster Hunter, tell me of your experience in this. I would love to hear about it. I always love talking about people's introductions to any franchise, especially to something like this. With that, much love you all, and I'll see all of your faces in the next video.